Hello guys, welcome to this video. Today we are going to talk about the difference between the persistent volume claim, and storage class in terms of use cases. Now, I want to define this as simple. First, it's saying that the persistent volume is actually the volume that it's actually the volume that is used. Let's take it as a simple example, and let's start this from the storage class, not the persistent volume class. So, in your cluster, you have the storage class, which represent the volume that the cluster needs. Out of the storage class, you are going to define a little, the admin will define a little volume called persistent volume claim. So the admin will actually go ahead and grab a little portion of the storage class to make it a persistent volume. And out of that persistent volume, we can also define the persistent volume claim. So persistent volume here are used to provide persistent storage for use for stateful application, databases, and other workload required data persistence beyond life cycle. That's persistent volume. So just to tell you that persistent volume is mostly used for stateful applications, for databases, and any application that required workload, for example. Now, persistent volume are used by application to request persistent storage from the cluster. They enable application to access and use persistent storage volume without worrying about the underlying detail of storage provisioning, right? So in simple language here, the persistent volume claim is actually the volume that either come from the persistent volume or come from the storage class itself. So you can actually attach your persistent volume claim to either a persistent volume or the storage class itself. Then you have the storage class. In simple language, storage class are used to define different type of storage configuration and classes in the cluster. They enable dynamic provisioning of the storage volume based on defined storage classes, simplifying storage management for administration of the cluster. Now, this is in simple language telling you that this is the volume that the cluster needs. So in simple language, there are two scenarios. You are in your cluster, you are going to have a storage class. Out of the storage class, you are going to request a volume called persistent volume, and you are going to attach all your database stateful set port on that. Now, when it comes to persistent volume claim, you can attach your persistent volume claim directly on the persistent volume, or you can attach that directly on the storage class. So persistent volume claim can either be bound to the persistent volume or bound to the storage class. It's the same thing, right? So that's the main difference. Storage class, that's the volume that the entire cluster needs. Persistent volume is actually the volume that is needed for applications that have workload, such as stateful set database. And actually persistent volume claim is actually the volume that your application need to function, and the persistent volume claim can come from either the storage class or the persistent volume. That's just in simple language. I hope you guys like the video. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe, and also don't forget to put any question on the comment that you have. Thank you very much.